Hello, everybody, and I'm so excited that you're watching this because if you're watching this, you are really just starting your business up. And this is really about Business 101. So, what do you have to get going with right away? So, it's really kind of the top 10 things that I have found need to be done in order to even just get off to the races in your business. So, why don't we just get started? We're going to roll right into the slides so we can really get things moving. Alrighty. So, Business 101. The first thing we need to do is set our goals. So, get out a piece of paper, get a pen, and let's start thinking. Okay? Where do you see yourself in a month, in a year, 5 years from now? I want you to start thinking this. Is this a home? Is this an income? Is this a recognition? The second question I want you to ask yourself is, once you've written down what you want to create in 5 years, I then want you to write down what are you willing to do to reach your goals. Think about that. Are you willing to be coached, to plan, to create, to listen, to love, to organize better, to time manage, to get rid of distractions? What are you willing to do in order to reach your goals? The third question I want you to ask yourself is, by what date are you going to accomplish these goals? By what date? Because we want them to be SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time sensitive. So what date are you going to accomplish these goals? And the next step is, what are the 5 most important steps that need to be taken right now in order for you to reach these goals? So that can be looking at what rank advance you need, how much business volume do you need to create, how many people do you need to enroll, what is really required in order to reach this goal of yours. And then, once you've outlined the 5 important steps that need to be taken, now you're going to identify the steps required to reach those 5 things with dates and times. That makes it very specific, right? So if I was looking at things, then I want to own my home outright. That's something I want in 5 years. I want to have an income of $1 million a year, and I also want to be considered an expert for moms in health and wellness. And what am I willing to do? I'm willing to really do everything. I'm willing to be coached, to get rid of distractions, to organize better, to really clear the clutter. I want this to be achieved by August 30th, 2019. And one of my 5 is to rank advance team members consistently and constantly. That is one of the big things. So now I'm going to take that. I want to rank advance people consistently. I need to break that down. How am I going to get people to consultant, to manager, to director, to executive? What am I going to do in order for that action step to happen? And how do I want it to happen? Do I want to have a rank advance happen every week, every month? What's the timeline on all of these rank advances? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your goals and you're going to bring them all together, and you're going to write a clear, concise statement about your goals and what it is. And it's not long, but it's written in the present tense. So I am, I make, I own, I live, I impact the world in this time frame. And then what we're going to do is post it places, and we want to read it. Now, I just used some examples of some of the things I'm looking for. I have a statement that really encompasses my whole life and vision and what I want, and I really encourage you to do the same. And when we look at the Harvard study, for example, and it was conducted in 1979, what's so cool is that only 3% had written goals. And you know, when they went back to these people 10 years later, those 3% who had the written goals on average made 10 times the amount of all the other 97% of the people combined. I mean, talk about, you know, a reason to write down your goals. The second thing we want to do is set up our office, right? We want it in a quiet place with a good computer. Our long distance plan is set up. We've got a phone there. We've got whiteboards for our teams, for our cleansers, so we can be organized and see right up front what's happening. We need three-way calling on our phone, and it needs to be clear and uncluttered, right? If we've got a cluttered up desk with a million things all over it, then that's how our business is going to be, cluttered up with a million things all over it. So let's get our desk cleared up, let's get what we need, and get it all there. The next thing we want to do is create a vision board, and that really comes from our goals as well, is pictures, words. What do we want to create in our life? What does our life want to stand for? Number 4 is to create our ISA wallet account. I did talk about this in the compensation plan webinar, but this is how we get paid. And you go to isawallet.com. You're going to need your Isagenix ID number. If you are in Canada, you're going to want to get a US bank account so it doesn't convert, and you can then control when you're converting things. So I do recommend that. And it's a very simple system to work otherwise. The next thing you want to do at the beginning, which you've already started, is decide. We need to make a decision to do this. And once we decide, that's when things start to happen. So we need to have discipline. We need to have determination, desire, and our beliefs in check. There's some great resources you're going to want to check out at the beginning here. ISAProduct.com is all about products. So make sure you go there to really learn about the products. On ISAProduct.com, you can find training videos, meal plans, tips, snack ideas, videos for how to cleanse. You can get the ingredients for everything. You can get the commonly asked questions for everything. Fact sheets, 2 or 3 points about each product. It's all there at ISAProduct.com. ISAMovie.com, that's where you can go to prospect and you can share with people, business and product and athletes and enterprising women, all these different videos, start videos, why Isagenix, and they really explain things for you. And if you haven't done so already, go to ISAMovie.com, watch all the movies, get a feel for what is being said, what is being shown, so you know exactly what to send people when you're prospecting. IsagenixHealth.net is full of information talking about the different studies, health information, and this is generally written by doctors and healthcare professionals in Isagenix, so it's a great tool to go to. We also have IsaTeamSuccess.com. That is our parent team. Highly recommend you get over to that site. There's a lot of printable forms off of that site as well under resources. That's where you're going to get the 3-star playbook. And also it's important that you subscribe to the newsletter. This newsletter is really key and important because it is going to go over the latest stuff, promotions, events, training, calls, all of that is on that particular newsletter. ISA FYI, a great place to take a look at what's new, what promotions are happening, what's going on. Recognition is on there as well. Then we've got IsagenixBusiness.com, and this is a great website you can go to, and it really has some great printable forms again. It also goes through how to launch your business there. So make sure to use that resource. And finally, personalpodcast.com is where you can really go to take a listen to all of the recorded calls. And this is great for when you're in the car, at the gym, walking around. You educate yourself while you're doing that. Ask for support. Right? We want to let our families know what we're doing. We want to tell our friends. And we want to ask for support. All right? We want to create our schedule. So we want to block out times for our family, our partner, exercise, for personal time, for income producing activities. We need a good day planner. We need a monthly calendar so that we can see up front what's happening, what events are going on, right? And when we're doing that income producing activity in our business hours into our calendar, make sure we're allocating it appropriately. So the income producing activities should be accounting for 40 to 50% of the time. So that's prospecting, enrolling, sharing, three-way calls. That's got to be 40 to 50% of the time. Team support is going to be 30% of our time, helping out our team, getting in there, getting deep, and 10% of our time is going to be administrative, checking Facebook, checking emails. So we've got to really help ourselves in creating our own success, and that's going to be to really try to minimize the administrative part. And then sharpening our saw, as it's called, or personal development, is 10%. We want to get some notebooks. That's number 9 here. And it's a great way to keep everything together. I use one for prospects. At the top of the page, I put the person's name, phone number, email, and that way I can then use the rest of the page to write down anytime I've contacted them, any connections, anything that I need to write about that person. I also used a notebook that I have for the team so I can keep tabs of three-way calls, anything I've done with the team so that I have an idea of what's going on. And last is our whiteboards. And Alexa Romano has a great system that you can find on her website for how she uses her whiteboards. We use a whiteboard for our cleansers that has worked phenomenally. And Alistair has done a webinar to talk about how to cleanse, but it's really about keeping things visual and organized on the wall, and in a snapshot being able to see what you need to do next with your person. So be a go-giver, not a go-getter. The power of a force field created by an intention is the square of the number of people holding that same intention at the same time. It's why it's so important to share our goals, to post things on Facebook, to put it out there with what we're going for, because the more people that share that keep that intention, that keep that goal within them, the more likely that it's going to happen. So those are really the tips to get started on the Isagenix business. And these are just really the surface things that we need to do. And the next part that we're going to be talking about is actually prospecting and connecting and building relationships, which is what this business is all about. So I look forward to continuing on in our next webinar.